Okay, welcome back. So today we're gonna mess around with styles. I will show you how you can plug in CSS and how you can customize the appearance of your site. Of course, this will be the bare minimum customization just to show you how it's done. As we progress through the course, we will implement more and more customization in terms of appearance so that our site actually begins to look like a real deal, so to say. So the very first thing that you need to do is to go into app.components.ts and type in style URLs colon and then type this in. Now we are specifying a path here to a file which at the moment is non-existent. So what do we need to do? Well, simple enough, just go ahead and create the file. So right click on app, new file, and in the top center you will get a prompt where you will type in app.component.css. So app/component.css. And that will be the path to our file. Oh, my apologies here. Just need to rectify this. Excellent. There we go. So app/app.component.css, even though in the styles URL it's a slash because we are working on a Windows machine, so keep that in mind. It's supposed to look like this on a Windows machine. On a Mac or a Linux, you would just use a slash, and your path here would look exactly the same as the path here. Simple as that, no big deal. But on Windows, it's a little bit different, so we need to keep that in mind. So app.component.css, enter. Okay, so we have created it, and it's empty now. I'm just gonna take this code and paste it here. So don't worry, you'll have the code under the lectures anyway, but as I said, I advise you to always type it in yourselves. It says .info, and then there are some things which resemble English language. It says background, padding, margin, color, etc. What is this? Well, if I press Control, I just need to press Control S to save it. Well, this is a reference to the HTML. So within the HTML, we can take a look from the top. I have added a few things here. So in div, it says class equals info. Okay, so class equals info. And that is how the CSS will know. So dot info, it's referring to that class. And we're setting the background color for that. So this background color is referring to the background color of the entire div. So whatever this div takes, that will alter the background color for that div. You will see how this works. Actually, you can see it now. There you go. So you see this div now has background gray. This div also has background gray. You can play around with it to your heart's content. But you are referring to a div through typing in, basically by typing in class equals, and then you type in something here, some arbitrary name, which you later on use in the CSS file and state dot for class. So info, and then specify, okay, this is going to be the background color. This is a hexadecimal representation of the color, and you can just go onto the net and type in CSS hexadecimal representations of colors, and you can find each individual hexadecimal representation for each individual color. So you will have to do it that way. Now, padding. What is the padding referring to? It says 10px and 24px. So this is like 10 pixels and 24 pixels. Let's go ahead and open this up. And you have it's referring to, see, it says dot info and HTML. Dot info, it's referring to the end of the div. So let me just see where the end of the div is. Yep. So this, what we have typed in for info, is not actually being yet displayed on the screen. That's why I got a little bit confused. we need to delete the account. So delete, delete, and there you go. So you don't have any accounts yet. Please add it. And let me just do one more thing. So view, you don't need to do this, but it toggles soft wrap so you can see everything on one screen, so I don't have to scroll left and right. Anyway, you have this div, and we have a CSS style for this div right here. So it's blue. And the margin, the padding, which I've explained, is the padding that refers to this text in regard to the div around it. So you see, this is the div, which is colored blue. And my apologies, this is not gray. This is actually blue. Down below we have actually gray. Apologies for that, but it's kind of difficult to read hexadecimal numbers by heart and know exactly which color it is. But in any case, it says 10 pixels and 24 pixels. So in terms of height and in terms of width. So height and width, that is the padding. So we would like to move from the edge 10 pixels, and we would like to move from the bottom 10 pixels, and we would like to move from the edge 24 pixels. So basically just look at the cursor movement. Height, width. So from left to right, that would be width, and from top to bottom, that would be height. We're moving from the top 10 pixels downwards. As you can see, this is not a lot. This text here is, you don't have any accounts yet, please add it. This is not actually aligned to the center. If you observe it carefully, you will see that it's not in the actual center. It goes a little bit down. It goes a little bit down more than it should. Just a little tiny bit as far as I can see. But don't worry, you will be shown how you can center things and how you can position them the way you want them to be. Now, the next thing is the margin. Now, margin applies, box. Now, margin applies to around the div. So this is the general margin from the top, from the bottom, from left, and from right. How much distance do you want to put between this blue background, this div, and everything else around it? You can specify individually left, right, bottom, top margins, but we've just typed in margin, so one general distance from everything else. And color black, that is referring to the text. So the text shall be of color black. Next up, we have .acc class. If we go back into the HTML, ACC class, yep, there we go. So the next div is this one. It says class ACC stands for account, and we would like to create an individual CSS for that as well. Individual CSS ruling for that, so to say. So the background color, once again, of the div is specified here. So this will be gray. And then you have the padding, same as before. And then you have a margin and the color of the text. Let me just go ahead and reload the site. So as you can see, the padding, the inner padding has been done. And you have the color that is gray around this div, and the text is explicitly black as we have specified it to be black. And then you have another margin which basically separates these two. Let me just go ahead and margin 8 pixels margin. I can actually just do this Control X to cut it out. Oh, not that one, sorry, the one down below. I can just do this Control X and save. And then let it reload. You see, then there is no spacing between these two, which is a problem. We would like to allow for some space there. Okay, let it load. Excellent. Now you can see that there is space between the two divs. I would like you to play around with this a little bit, change it, alter it, and see what actually happens. What changes can you enact on the site? The way I would recommend it is try to change something and try to figure out what will happen before it actually happens on the site, and then go onto the site and see if you're right, wrong, and see what actually happened. That's one of the best ways to learn, in my opinion, anyway. Down below, we have .acc, and then you have a greater than sign and a wildcard character here, basically an asterisk. What does it mean? Well, the greater than sign means the children of this class, and then we've stated all the children. So apply the margin of 4 pixels to all the children. If we just go back to the HTML, it says ACC. So all of these are children. But we have said, okay, please apply margin to everybody. Don't just, not to this one in particular, not to this one in particular, but apply the margin to all the children down below. And there you go. So we have the margins and it works flawlessly. Now this has been basic CSS plugging in or specifying custom styles within Angular 2. But later on, as I said, we will go into far more complex things. One keynote is that there is some sort of a bootstrap running in the background with Angular 2. So it already looks relatively, I mean, it's still ugly, don't get me wrong, but it looks relatively good as opposed to just typing in text in HTML and displaying it on the screen, which would be even uglier. But don't worry, we shall ensure that our application resembles a real life, real world application that looks attractive and modern to an extent, of course. So once again, please, please, please play around with the CSS file, try altering things, try putting in different colors, try putting in different things, try left, right margin, find the syntax on the net. I strongly encourage you to do so. It would be very easy for me to write left, right, bottom margins here and show them to you how they work, but I really want you to basically just try it out. It's not that difficult. It's really easy. Just type it in and see what happens. Try to change the padding and see what happens. Just try changing these numbers. Try changing the margin number. Try changing the background color and see see how the changes will be reflected on the site itself. So anyway, I'm gonna bid you farewell here, and I will see you in the follow-up tutorial.